And welcome back to Hannity. The anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks is a very solemn day here in this country. But this year, while thousands will gather in New York, Virginia, and Pennsylvania to remember the lives that were lost that day, a group called the American Muslim Political Action Committee has deemed it appropriate to hold a march at our nation's capital that day. Now, the group's website is calling it the, quote, Million Muslim March on 9/11/13. A press release about the event reads, quote, on 9/11/2001, our country was forever changed by the horrific events in New York. The entire country was victimized by the acts done on that day. Muslim and non-Muslim alike were traumatized, but we as Muslims continue 12 years later to be victimized by being made villains to this day by every media outlet. An anti-Islamic organization has committed slanderous and libel statements against us as Muslims and our religion of Islam. Yet our government either sits idly by and does nothing to protect our freedoms, or it exacerbates the problem with its constant war on terrorism in Islamic countries, congressional hearings on Islam in America, and its changes to the NDAA law. Joining me now is reaction of the president for ActForAmerica.org, Brigitte Gabriel, and the founder of the group who is putting this march together, MD Rabbi Alam. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Alam.
Thank you for being here.
Let me start with you. So this is a very solemn day, and we're supposed to remember the victims, their families, the children that lost parents, they never saw them again, and you want to turn this into a day about anti-Islamic bigotry?
Let me start with this.
I asked you a question. That's a question.
Before I answer your question, let me start with one quick thing. Like, while I'm in Texas, I like to say hello to my friend Michael and myself. We served in the military. He used to tell me that we are not fit in the American society, but while serving in uniform, we are Americans. And remembering just the day of 9/11, he walked to my room and said, your cousin did it. They blew it up. Anyway, the answer to your question that no, it's not really like that way. Let's move on and see how we can find out what's plan we have.
Okay, so here are the victims. I'll ask the question again. This is a day to remember them and their families. They will never see their parents again. They'll never see their loved ones again. And you want to make this day, of all days, radical Islamists who are responsible for this attack, you want to make this a day about bigotry against Muslims.
No, not really. We are standing this day to show American that we Muslim, we denounce terrorism, and we want to stand with the solidarity denouncing that heroic effect.
That's not what your statement says at all.
That's done by Muslim.
Your statement doesn't.
Yes,
Brigitte, that statement doesn't say that, does it?
No, that statement doesn't say that at all. That statement is crying victimhood. We are the victims. That's exactly what they're trying to do. And what is amazing, Sean, is for all the terrorist attacks against the United States. I mean, here just last week we were dealing with the Nidal Hassan trial, who shot his fellow soldiers at Fort Hood. Before that, we have the bombings in Boston. And instead of the Muslim community gathering a 1 million man march on Capitol Hill to condemn the radicals that are supposedly killing people in the name of their religion, to condemn what's happening to the Christian Copts in Egypt, to condemn the killing Muslim on Muslim around the world, to condemn the radicals supposedly who have dragged America into a war that cost us billions, and instead of coming on television and saying we are Americans first, we rebuke anybody who calls infidels infidels, we rebuke anybody who blows up civilians in the name of jihad, now they're gathering together and they're crying victimhood. The audacity is beyond words.
Will you admit, sir, that...
Yes, Shane, let me answer Brigitte.
Sure.
Listen, this is exactly, it's became, this is 2013. And if you look at the event, what we put there, exactly the day of 9/11, we Muslim become villainized and victimized. And it's not us and them, it's we as American. And I myself, I served this country, and past 12 years, every single place looked like I walked, feel like I am one of that 19 who not job blow up that World Trade Center. I lost my friend.
Who did this? Radical Muslims did this, sir. You agree with that,
exactly,
right? Okay, exactly. So here's the point. Hasn't America bent over backwards to distinguish between Islam and radical Islamists? If anything, I think this country's bent over backwards and then some to make that distinction.
Okay, Shane, I understand. Do you understand there are 1.6 billion peace-loving Muslim, maybe 16,000 radical Muslims?
What does that have to do with what I'm saying? Nothing.
That give you a 0.001%.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you agree that Hezbollah is a terrorist group and Hamas is a terrorist group? I'm asking.
Okay. What to do with Hezbollah and Hamas?
I just asked you. Do you think they're I asked you a question. Do you think they're terrorist groups?
You know, if somebody in that group doing something violating people's life, of course they are.
Well, excuse me.
Do you believe KK?
Read the charter, and the charter calls for the destruction of Israel. Does that sound like a terrorist group to you?
I am not going to that.
You're not going to say it?
Let's talk about in Washington, D.C.
You're afraid to say it?
What I'm saying. No, it's not about that. I'm saying is look at this.
You care about bigotry against Muslims. What about bigotry against the Israelis that comes from some of these Arab countries, sir? And these radical groups, you won't condemn them?
No, I condemn, exactly. I will stand
Hamas
for the Muslim.
And Hezbollah.
No, I will condemn Hamas, Hezbollah. I will condemn everybody.
And the Muslim Brotherhood.
I am condemning right here.
And the Muslim Brotherhood.
I am right here sitting, exactly. And I will stand for the solidarity of Christianity, Judaism, Israelism, and all this humanity.
Brigitte?
I am a different individual, exactly.
You know, so where were this 1 million man march when Nidal Hassan shot his fellow soldiers? Where was the million man march when Shahzad wanted to blow up the subway system in New York? Where was, or Zazi wanted to blow up the subway system in New York? Where was the million man march when Shahzad wanted to blow up Times Square? In the last 4 years alone, Sean, we have arrested on American soil 226 homegrown terrorists. 186 of them are Muslims. Not Buddhists, not Jews, not Christians, and he's talking about bigotry. What bigotry? Our president went out of his way to even change the lexicon, change the words out of our counterterrorism training manuals to take out every reference to Islamic radicalism, Islamic jihadism, because we do not want to offend the Muslims. We are the ones who are victim here, the Americans, and we are offended that people like them have not stood up yet and condemned radicalism.
Okay. Let me tell you this. Let me educate you first. I don't know how much you know about Islam. You know, I've been actually talking against.
She grew up under Islam.
News like,
we know a lot about Islam.
You know, if you know about Islam, have you met anybody Islamic like me? You need to find a guy who like me.
I met a lot of, I have and work with a lot of moderate Muslims.
There are so many people, they call themselves Muslim, but they don't follow the actual code of conduct. In today's,
right, I got to break. I have one last question. Do you think Sharia law is extreme?
You know the Sharia law, if anybody can show me the book of existence of Sharia law, what is Sharia law?
Sharia law is practiced in Saudi Arabia where women can't drive, where there is a morality police, or Sharia law as implemented in Iran where people that are gay are killed and rape, women need 4 male eyewitnesses, things like that, and stoned to death?
What to do with that Sharia law and
women are stoned to death for adultery? That's the real life reality of Sharia law in a lot of countries.
That's right. Sharia law is the codification of the Quran.
Let me tell you this. When we are talking about the political platform, the Islamic, like what we were talking about here, to denouncing the terrorism, we want to denounce the violence. You know, let's not forget that Osama bin Laden,
we got to go.
And you know,
coming up,
Osama bin Laden.
Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you. And some of the president's